Hello, hello. Hi, Jahan.
Hi, Dana.
How are you?
Alhamdulillah, all's well. You?
Alhamdulillah, all is good. How are you doing today?
والله alhamdulillah, nothing much. I've done one day of fasting
Okay,
on Sunday.
okay,
Well, alhamdulillah, it went well.
okay.
I remember what you said. You know that I'm not sleeping so well nowadays, so I took this opportunity and did all the morning routine. Lemon water followed by cucumber and then the smoothie كله تمام.
Hmm.
ف it was okay. I was at home. It's my day off, so I was at home. So not a lot of a huge activity خالص.
Okay.
Um, وبعدين I'm trying to think whether you said it's all about hydration. So how about juicing? Could I
Yeah,
break the fast on juice بس
100%.
مثلا if that's the
Yeah,
trick
yeah.
ولا
That's
ايه.
that's the most potent way to hydrate. Definitely, you can break your fast on juicing only. Of course.
Mm. Because I was supposed to do another day of fasting today and it didn't work out because I didn't have enough sleep, so I didn't wake up on time.
Okay.
I'm thinking of doing that either tomorrow or the day after. Usually Thursdays and Fridays are my juicing days.
Okay. Excellent.
That's what I was trying to think about.
Yeah. You never need to question juicing. You never need to wonder if it's something that you should do or you shouldn't do, or if it's okay to do or not okay to do. It is literally one of the strongest ways to heal the body, one of the fastest ways to heal the body. And actually, when you've been fasting for so many hours, starting off with a juice is the best way to bring back your digestive system that's been resting, who knows, 12 hours, 15 hours. So when it's been resting that long, the best way to slowly bring it back is with a juice. I mean, imagine, I mean, fasting is what? It's just like, having breakfast, but in reverse, right? So, but you wouldn't wake up in the morning and the first thing you would do in the morning is have, let's say, traditional fitar, right? You wouldn't have macarona, lahma, rose, atayif, and all of that when you first wake up in the morning. So this is why fasting backfires for people because they've been fasting, depending on where you are in the world, sometimes between 12 and 18 hours. And then when it's time to break the fast, it's called break fast, breakfast. So instead of being gentle on this digestive system that's been resting and regenerating and healing for so many hours, they slam it with all of these heavy foods. But if you think of fitar time as actually fitar time, and what is the best kind of food to wake up to? More gentle foods, more healing foods. Juicing is actually one of the best ways that you can break your fast. So never wonder about juicing. You cannot do it for too long. The longer you do it, the longer you heal. There's no danger from it if you're specifically doing it to heal from specific symptoms. When you're fasting, you're not missing nutrients. You're not missing they tell you لازم تتغذي في Ramadan, like you have to eat well al fitar. No, you're not. The whole point of fasting, spiritual fast anyway, is to remove the emphasis on the physical so that we can become more aware of the spiritual. Nobody starves when they haven't eaten for 12 to 18 hours, even if they do it for a whole month. We overeat the whole year. Our bodies are overburdened. It's actually an opportunity to heal the liver and heal the body. So you could do all of Ramadan on just juicing, and this would never harm you. This would be the most healing protocol that you could follow.
Thank you, Dana. لا, I love juicing.
Good.
And I've been doing more juicing than ever.
Okay.
First, I learned from you the one day at the end of the cycle.
Yeah.
بعدين I'm adding now another day كده من مخي
Yeah.
But I wasn't doubting the value of juicing. I was doubting that it's going to be sufficient to sustain me because usually in Ramadan I feel hungry. I don't يعني I don't feel that I have enough fuel even if I have good fuel, you know.
Why?
Since
Well,
those are
let's just stop a moment with that. Okay. Here's why most people still feel hungry in Ramadan and eat. Okay. One, they're eating the foods they're eating are very low in nutrients. So if the traditional Ramadan, okay, if you're breaking your fast with a date and then you have some soup and then you have rice, lahma, macarona, and then you have some kind of Ramadan dessert, that's almost zero nutrition. You fed your body quantity, but you haven't fed it quality. It's gotten zero live nutrition. It's gotten zero live minerals and live vitamins and live enzymes, zero live hydration. So what does the body do? Body's always responding. So what's the body going to do when it's been fasting and it's waiting to be refueled and you refuel it this way? It's going to keep giving you the signal even 2 hours after you eat, all through the night, and definitely the next day that it's hungry because it wasn't fueled properly. You gave it processed foods, cooked dead foods, Ramadan desserts, no hydration. So the dehydration is also going to show up as a hunger signal. So when there's limited even if you're drinking water. So if you eat like this and then you drink a lot of water, that's still not hydration. That's not the hydration that goes to the cells. So the next day you might feel hungry, but that signal could actually be dehydration and you just confuse it for hunger. So when you drink juices, when I say it's the most potent way, because this is the most complete form of live enzymes, live minerals, live vitamins, live hydration going directly to your cells. There's no middleman, right? Because it's already juiced, your body has minimal work to do. All it needs to do is absorb and go straight to the cells. So obviously, it's not going to work on one juice. So when it's time to break your fast at Fitar time, you'll have one, maybe a couple of hours later, have another one. I would say if you're planning on doing a juicing Ramadan, for example, even if you do it for 2 days, or even if you do it for one day, you want to have at least 4 or 5 juices between Fitar and between Suhoor. And this, you will have the most incredible energy, depending obviously how you enter into it. So if you enter into it, nobody on this program, but let's say you still drink coffee, you still eat bread and cheese and everything, and then you decide to go straight into that. Obviously, you're going to have several days of major detox withdrawal symptoms. If you've already removed the caffeine, the bread, the cheese, all of this, and you decide to do a Ramadan like this, it is a deeper level of detoxing, so you might feel a little bit fatigue, a little bit of headache, but within the third or fourth day, you're going to be flying through your Ramadan.
طيب, that's very good to know, Yadana. Thank you so much. Already, I've limited I don't have any bread at home. I don't have any cheese. أصلا يعني coffee is very rarely, every
Yeah.
once in a blue moon كده. طيب, بس I wanted to clarify one thing, because you know how people in the nutrition sector, they have different schools and different ideas وكده. ف there are people who say, يعني I'm a believer in juicing. أنا بس I'm playing the devil's advocate.
Yeah.
Some people say that because it's stripped of the fibers, etc., it makes your glucose go up بسرعة. What's your take on this?
So the people who say this don't understand how the body works. Your digestion starts in your mouth. So the first thing you do if you eat a whole fruit is you put it in your mouth and you start chewing and you start breaking it down. And then it gets into your stomach where your stomach strips it divides, separates the juices from the fibers, does nothing with the fibers, eliminates them, absorbs the juices, and that's where the benefit comes from. And the body poops out the fibers. So the body does it anyway. Your body separates the juice from the fibers. That's what digestion is, and gets rid of the fibers. So when we juice, and the reason we juice and the reason we blend in a smoothie is when somebody's digestive system is compromised, right? From overeating or eating all of the inflammatory foods that we talked about, to the degree that you have a disease or you have major symptoms that are getting in the way of your life, or you're on medication, we know that the digestive system is compromised. So we want you to heal as fast as possible, and we want it to be as easy as possible on the digestive system. So what, like I said, when you drink juices, all you do is absorb, and because we remove a step. So instead of you eating all the fruits and the body has to do all that work of separating and filtering and getting rid of the fibers and just taking the juice, we remove that step for the body. We get rid of that effort that the stomach has to go through and the digestive system has to go through. So all that your body has to do, because we're conserving energy for healing. When you're unwell, your body uses a lot of energy to heal. So we want to conserve as much energy as possible for healing. And one of the ways to do that is to give your body the pure fuel and pure healing foods in the simplest way possible to absorb without having to do any of the hard work. So that's why we juice. You just drink it and it goes straight to your cells without having to exert extra effort. People who tell you this don't understand how the body works. The body is a blender and the body is a juicer. Your body is doing it anyway. And there's absolutely no scientific reason why an apple won't spike blood sugar, but apple juice will. Absolutely no reason for that. So, and these people are not healers. So when you hear this advice, typically it's coming from mainstream nutritionists. It's coming from registered dietitians. So you sort of need to look at the titles after their name or the letters after their name. If it's a registered nutritionist or dietitian, then you need to know that they have to follow government nutrition guidelines. They have to follow or whatever institution they graduated from. They don't have the liberty of throwing all of that out and just saying, look, actually holistically, this is what works. So in all of my experience in 13 years, I have never seen anybody get diabetes or spike blood sugar. In fact, the opposite. All of my clients who have diabetes did it and reversed it and got off their medication, did it by drinking all the smoothies, eating all the fruits, combination of both. So fruit is a, is a food that God has created thousands and thousands and thousands and thousands of years ago. It was created with us, it was created for us. God doesn't make mistakes. He did not create a banana, he did not create a mango, he did not create a strawberry or an apple that can make you sick in whichever form that you can eat it. It's the man-made foods. So you also have to pay attention to these people giving you this advice. What other advice are they giving you? So here they are saying, don't juice your apple or don't juice your whatever, eat it whole, which is not wrong. Eat it whole also. But when we're healing, we need deeper healing and we need larger quantities. And most people are not going to eat this quantity of fruits and vegetables whole. So see what else they're saying. Like I know that I hear from doctors all the time. Like my father was a doctor. My mother was diabetic. She's nearly done not being a diabetic because she's finally following my advice. Her doctor would say, don't eat dates, don't eat grapes, don't eat bananas, don't eat mangoes, but it's okay. خدي حبة رغيف بلدي الصبح and another one, بالليل. Cottage cheese is okay to have. All the foods that lead to diabetes. So you need to look at whatever advice you're seeing, not as a snippet. You want to see in the whole context of what this person is teaching. And because I see also a lot, people will send me clips of advice that's not wrong. So for example, like, do this, drink this tea for hair loss, for example. That was the latest one that somebody sent me. It was tea or something else, some herb, right? And so this woman has been a client of mine for many years. She always comes back and forth to ask me stuff. She's like, is this true? So if I eat this, will this help with my hair not falling? So I said to her, yes, this is true. This is not wrong advice. Go ahead. But what I find is, especially what you see on social media, they're trying to sell you like the miracle solution. Take this so that your hair doesn't fall out. Take this so that you don't have constipation anymore. So you know how we always talk about healing is two parts. It's removing toxicity and replenishing deficiency. So much of what you see just talks about replenishing something, putting in the miracle herb, putting in the miracle drug. So, for example, when we talk about hair loss, and I watch the video, and maybe this person talked about it somewhere else, I don't know. But in this video where she's talking about hair loss, she doesn't talk about why hair loss happens to start with. So, if she doesn't explain that hair loss happens because the body is not absorbing the right nutrients, and the lack of absorption happens from wheat and dairy and processed foods and caffeine and junk, if she doesn't explain that, and then you're eating all of these foods, but then you just decide to go get this miracle herb, and then it doesn't work, and it won't. So you have to be very careful with what you hear and what you listen to and what you follow. It doesn't, I'm not here like to be like the source. I'm not. I'm just a source for you. You always have to check up on everything. But one way for you to empower yourself in this process and with all this information that you are going to be bombarded with is to always ask yourself, especially when it comes to healing, what is this person's background? Are they a registered mainstream conventional nutritionist or alternative holistic practitioner? And two, when they talk about healing, are they making sure to cover both removing the toxins and replenishing? It's very important. You can't do one without the other. And then the rest of it is just really common sense. Common sense. Remember that fruits and vegetables and animal protein have been around for hundreds of thousands of years. Nobody in the history of the world got sick eating fruits and vegetables and a little bit of animal protein. Disease only started with the onset of the agricultural revolution and the industrial revolution and man-made food and processed foods and the pharmaceutical industry. This is history. Anybody has access to this information. Anybody can go back and look at the statistics and see what diseases and what kind of symptoms people suffered with pre-agricultural industrial revolution and pharmaceutical industry and post. And then you look at the figures and that's just common sense. What changed? What did we go to? What did we become? And here's the result. So some things are just, I don't know, they're called clickbait, where people just want to get people's attention online. But just take a moment and let your gut guide your thinking. You let your instinct guide your response to something that you see. And if you're not getting the right response, then, take the time to research, to look, to ask, because so much of what's out there is just, I don't know what the word is. It's baffling. It's baffling. They've made it so confusing when it's just the basics. That's all you need. We need to go back to what people used to eat 50,000 years ago, 100,000 years ago. They ate fruits, they ate vegetables, they ate a little bit of animal protein. That's it. That's it.
Mm.
So
Makes a lot
simplify
of
for
sense.
yourself, right? And remember, those are the God created foods, right? God gave us the animals, He gave
Yes.
us the fruits, He gave us the vegetables, and God doesn't make mistakes. It's only everything that has been man-made that has been making everybody sick, not what has been created by God originally.
Yes, that makes a lot of sense. Thank you so much, Yadana.
You're welcome.
طيب, one quick question about rice. Why aren't you eating rice?
Rice can be highly inflammatory food. It didn't, again, grains, so wheat, rice, all of those. Rice was not necessarily part of original diets. Grains were not. And even if they were, you need to think about how much effort it takes to prepare something will tell you sort of whether this is something we're supposed to consume a lot of or not. So with animal protein, back in the day, 100,000 years ago, that wasn't easy to come by. They didn't just go to the grocery store and pick up the, pre-slaughtered, pre-cut, pre-marinated even chicken, beef, or whatever it is they wanted to eat. They had to go and hunt it, and it was dangerous, and they had to risk their lives sometimes, and they didn't wasn't an easy process. Then after they hunted it, they have to, take the skin off, to, whatever you have to do, butcher it. So it wasn't something they enjoyed every single day because it wasn't easily accessible. And this is why we know that they didn't eat that much of it. When it comes to grains, so let's say they're also under the plant kingdom, and you'd have maybe chickpeas growing or lentils growing or rice growing. And remember, I mentioned that these legumes and beans have something called phytic acid, and they're hard when in their natural form. Like, you don't eat a chickpea in its natural form. You don't eat, I mean, for example, you have vegetables that you don't really eat in their natural form. For example, broccoli, maybe, right? You could, but you don't because it's not tasty. But you could chew it and eat it and just, you can just digest it. But things like chickpeas, things like lentils, you can't just take them and eat them in their raw form. You have to soak them and then you have to boil them, you have to cook them. So there was a process to eating those foods as well. So anything that requires you to put in sort of a considerable amount of effort to make the food digestible literally translates into that's something that you can't eat all the time because of the time investment in it. Versus fruits and vegetables, all of them can be eaten raw, theoretically. You can even eat a potato raw, theoretically. It doesn't need to be cooked. But a chickpea, no way you can eat it raw. A lentil, no way. Fool, no way. So, how much effort it takes to prepare a food for it to be digestible also gives you an idea to what extent it is part of the day-to-day or regular part of consumption, or if it's just something to have every once in a while. With rice specifically, again, sort of like animal protein, it's become problematic. So, animal protein that they used to eat 100,000 years ago was fresh. They go and hunt it straight and eat it. Or maybe they have ways of preserving it. And what the animal ate was also fresh. So, if they go and hunt down a deer or a buffalo or whatever it is, that deer, that buffalo, what are they eating? Whatever it was they were supposed to eat in nature, they were also eating it fresh. So the whole food chain was just fresh foods. Rice, on the other hand, has become a bit problematic because the way that modern agriculture now grows rice, we have an issue with arsenic. I don't know if
Who?
you've read about that. So
No.
a lot of different varieties of rice that are grown. I don't know about Egyptian rice, but it contains arsenic. And I don't know why. I don't know the explanation for this. It's something I need to go and look up and get a better understanding. I just know that it contains arsenic. So, on top of being a grain that contains phytic acid, that's not easy to consume every single day because of the preparation, now because of modern agriculture, some varieties, because there's so many different types of rice, some varieties contain arsenic. So, it is a lot to consider when you're choosing what to eat. So it just makes it really, really simple to say, right, the grains, they take a lot of effort. You have to soak them. You have to get rid of the phytic acid. You have to boil them. You have to make sure that they're not going to bloat you. And to do that means you have to soak them a lot and then boil them a lot. When, you can just simplify your life and eat fruits and vegetables and the highest quality animal protein that you can find because it has to be cooked anyway, and you'll never be nutritionally deficient. So if you never eat beans or legumes or rice again, you will not be nutritionally deficient. So that's another thing to consider. The things that I remove, will I become nutritionally deficient or not? If you remove fruits and vegetables, yes, you will become nutritionally deficient, as everybody who started this program was. And that was the main reason why you all have your symptoms. You didn't have the healing properties of fruits and vegetables. Animal protein, yes, we have vegans, yes, we have vegetarians, but there is something, and people can argue for it back and forth all the time. We consuming animal protein has existed in our cultures. You see it in the history, you see it in religious texts, you see it, it was just there. So people who tell you we never ate animal protein, and there's, fruitarians and people who are very much for the raw fruit diet will say, especially if we look at our teeth, they're like, look at humans' teeth. They don't look like carnivore teeth. They look like, if you compare them to monkeys and apes, there's a theory that we come from monkeys and apes, but they tell you we have the same type of teeth. And what do monkeys and apes eat? They don't eat animal protein. So they'll argue and say that the structure of our teeth is not created to eat animal protein. But we're not animals, so you can't really compare us to lions who eat meat and apes who don't eat meat and compare the teeth structure and say we don't or we do. There is evidence in history and in religious scriptures that humans ate meat, and God had said, I provide you with these foods to eat. Remember, they just become problematic. They've become problematic because of the food chain. And then because of that, in order to heal, we just need to remove them. Doesn't mean we remove them forever. It means we remove them long enough. Why? Because they require a lot of energy for the body to break down. And when the body's healing, it needs to conserve as much energy as possible. So, but these are the three main foods that we were created to consume: fruits, vegetables, animal protein. And I can assure you, if you take a newborn baby now and don't feed it anything else but fruits, vegetables, and animal protein, you don't give it cow milk, you don't give it bread, you don't give it cereals, you don't give it pasta, you don't give it junk, you don't give it sugars, you don't give it McDonald's, you don't give it pizza. God willing, this baby will never get sick. It's going to have the right foundation from the beginning. So everything we're doing now is we're trying to course correct. We're trying to backtrack on everything that we grew up with so that we can create, reset, remove the old foundation that we have and reset with a new foundation. But because of modern agriculture, so much of what we could be eating has become problematic. So, we could be eating a little bit of rice and it wouldn't harm us. We could be eating some chickpeas and lentils and they won't harm us, but because of the way they're grown. So, eating animal protein technically is not supposed to harm us, but because of the hormones, because of the antibiotics, because of the way they're grown, they can end up harming us. So we have to look at how we've evolved as a species to get to the point where we're at today. That's it.
Thank you, Yani, for this clarification. It made me think of something I may have heard recently, Adana, regarding specifically, I think, spinach.
Yeah.
You said that there are, for example, the legumes.
Oxalates.
Sorry?
Oxalates. You're gonna tell me oxalates in spinach.
No, I don't know oxalates, but
Okay.
when you said legumes cannot be eaten raw,
Yeah.
يعني it makes sense. بس مثلا I eat spinach raw عادي.
Yeah.
ف
Yeah. Most vegetables and greens, you can eat them all raw. We prefer. So there's a difference between can you eat them raw or do you prefer to eat them cooked, right? So we prefer to cook broccoli a little bit. We prefer to maybe cook spinach. We prefer to cook molokhia, right?
prefer, or is it a matter of being it healthier, or even يعني it's much better for you to cook it than eat it raw?
There are, I think the only vegetable, I think there was one that I came across, and it's not even like a must. It's like, if you feel like it, cook it because it's a little bit better cooked than raw. I can't remember which one, but nothing, when you think about it, what did we say about adding heat to any fruit or vegetable? As soon as you add heat,
You
you
know something.
you lose something. You kill it. The heat kills it. So I don't know which vegetable.
But it's not spinach, صح?
I don't know if it's spinach.
Because I was very concerned when I heard that.
Yeah.
Because I eat it as a salad عادي
Yeah,
يعني.
yeah, yeah. So do I. No, don't be concerned. Don't be, no, nothing is worth being so concerned or so worried, right? It's not going to harm you. It's not going to harm you. Okay.
Mm.
You can have it. I put it in my smoothies. I have it in a salad. Sometimes I have it cooked with like some garlic. You're eating spinach at the end of the day, right? With it
Yeah.
within a balanced, protein, fruits. So don't let this is what I mean, right? When you sort of get these little out of context, like snippets of something, and they can throw you off. Just remember common sense. Common sense. Like a spinach that I consume raw, let's say it's the spinach, I'm not sure, but let's pretend it's the spinach. So the spinach that I consume raw versus cooked, or, everybody's making a fuss over it, but, everybody's out starting their day with coffee and nobody's saying anything about that.
لا بصي يعني أنا I don't have this dichotomy in my mind. But
Yeah.
for me, for example, I see some nutritionists, for example, like Dr. Mark Hyman, and he's reputable. No?
Yeah.
He
Yeah.
has,
Yeah. He was one of my teachers.
بس يعني he has a lot of information that for me doesn't make any sense خالص relating to the materials inside the foods and how we deal with the foods. And you know, a lot of things that he says I don't even get, you know. But
So
sometimes when I hear something, I say maybe they've done research, maybe there
yeah,
is something that I don't know.
yeah,
But it's not. I'm not going to give up the things you taught me, huh? خالص. يعني I'm not going to have my coffee included back again regularly مثلا
yeah,
وكده. It's not a dichotomy in my head, but when I hear something I would like to explore.
of
Maybe
course.
that is the reason why they say it. Maybe I don't have as much information as they do.
Yeah,
Yeah, maybe it makes sense on some level that
yeah.
I'm not aware of. بس كده يعني.
So Dr. Mark Hyman was one of my teachers, and he is a pioneer, right? He's the pioneer that has a very public face, right? So there's other pioneers that I've also studied under, but they're just not public, right? Like the detox teachers, the detox gurus, they're not necessarily medical doctors, they're holistic practitioners. But Dr. Mark Hyman, because he's such a public figure, and what he's done, he's created the Institute for Functional Medicine. So he was the first medical doctor, I believe, who decided, you know what, medicine first as an approach isn't working because he experienced it himself, and then he's the one who went and said, right, we're going to use food as medicine from now on and use that as our baseline, and when and if we need to plug in some medicine, an antibiotic here, something here, we will. So his foundation is still, even though he's not mainstream at all, but there's little bits and pieces of his foundation that are. And then my own personal belief about this is that for him, in order to continue, because remember, there have been detox doctors and alternative practitioners who have mysteriously died and disappeared over many, many years, right? Because they speak out against cancer treatments, they speak out against any conventional treatments, they speak out against vaccines, and boop, they kind of disappear. They just one day they find their body lying in a ditch, right? It has happened, maybe not to that extreme, but they'll find their Instagram accounts deleted, they'll find their medical licenses reversed. So there's lots of other things that can happen. So I believe personally that Dr. Hyman, in order for him to stay this visible and in order for him not to be canceled out, and I don't know if he believes these things, if he believes more things or not, and he's just not saying them, in order to continue to have a massive platform that, by the way, heals, right? He still heals thousands and thousands of people. But I believe he intentionally stays away from saying certain things and continues to say some things that might not be 100% healing, so that he can keep that public balance of, okay, he's not so extreme, or he's saying just eat fruits and vegetables and nothing else. So he will say, he will talk about the importance of protein. He might even mention dairy if you consume raw dairy. He's never ever during COVID talked about the COVID vaccine the way all the other alternative medical practitioners did. All of them got their accounts canceled. He never once mentioned it. So I think he intentionally tries to be safe on some level. But what he has done is, and he opened up the first functional medicine institute at the Cleveland Clinic. So basically, he went and inserted himself in one of the most mainstream clinics, the Cleveland Clinic, that only uses mainstream medicine and conventional treatments. And he attached his clinic to that, the functional medicine clinic, where people can come in to be healed naturally without reverting to medicine. So what he's done is huge. I think in order to protect that, he sort of needs to walk sort of a safer line, like not really go into things that are controversial, not really say things that are extreme on one side or another.
Makes sense. Thank you so much, Shidana.
You're welcome. Amen. Go ahead.
Hi, Dana. How are you?
Good. How are
Uh,
you?
good, good. I wanted to speak to you about supplements and what do you have to say about vitamin D in specific? Um, yeah, I'm planning to do like a baseline assessment of like do blood tests and
Yep.
stuff, but yeah, I know that I'm chronically deficient it's not only me, actually, me and my mom, chronically deficient on vitamin D.
Yeah.
And although I'm a sun addict by nature, but of course, I work long hours. I don't go
Yeah.
out daily in the sun.
Yeah.
Uh, Although I'm trying to change that, but still I'm like I score very bad. Like at my best, I score 10, 15. Best.
Yeah.
So I wanted to know your take on this. How to go? What kind of supplements? Is there certain food? I heard also about particularly having microplastics in some of the food, and actually going to supplement is safer. Um, so yeah, so that's my first question for today.
So I would say in terms of what I think about supplements in general, I did the class on supplements, so you can go back and rewatch that.
Yeah, yeah, I
Yeah.
skipped that. Yes,
Yeah.
thank you.
So go back and rewatch that. Supplements don't heal. They don't heal,
Yes.
right? By definition, a supplement is something you add on to something else that you're doing. So I
Yes.
don't ever recommend supplements as and this is why we removed all the supplements at the beginning, right? Because if you don't have the right foundation, if you're missing vitamin D or you're missing magnesium, or the solution is not to take it in a supplement. The solution is to see why am I missing it to start with and fulfill
Yeah.
it the way that nature intended first. So specifically for vitamin D, that comes from the sun. It is the easiest solution, right? And not just any sun. You need to be in the sun at least in the morning between 7 and 8 a.m., at least 20 minutes with most of your skin available. So it's not just about getting it on your face. That's not enough. You need to get it on your major parts of your body. So on your thighs, on your chest, on your arms. So I know it's getting a little bit cooler now, but if you can, if you have access to a garden, if you have access to a balcony that's private, go out in your bathing suit, go out in like shorts and a tank top, and make sure that your most of your skin is exposed to the sun. This is how you get adequate vitamin D. Not just by going to the sun with your face or your neck. That's never going to do it. That's not enough. And it needs to be consistent. You spend a lot of time in the sun. Maybe if you go to the beach, you love spending all day on the beach, or you have a long weekend. What we're talking is like everything else, systemic repetition of the intake of this vitamin. And there's more danger in a synthetic vitamin than there is in the food. So I don't know where you heard that, because the vitamins, unless you're going for very specific brands, 99.9% of all supplement brands in Egypt and all over the world are filled with synthetic, toxic, artificial additives that do more harm than good. So I have the brands listed in the guide. There's literally maybe only two brands that, for any supplement, when you go and buy the supplement, it should just say vitamin D. You should not see magnesium stearate, talc, titanium dioxide, gluten, soy, fillers, additives. You shouldn't see any of that. So the least of your worries when you're worrying about your source of vitamin D is microplastics in food. And then you go and take a supplement that's filled with more toxic ingredients, plus that the source of the vitamin is also synthetic. So the vitamin D that you're getting in the supplement is a synthetic form of vitamin D. It's not a natural form of vitamin D. So you start with natural sunlight, 20 minutes a day, and then the other thing, if you do decide to take the supplement, you need to take a vitamin K2 with it as well. You can't take
Yeah.
vitamin on its own.
How about, I think it's called cod liver oil?
No, don't take any of these oils. No, this is an
No.
added, it's a fat, it's an added load on your liver. Sunshine, from day one of humanity, was created to give us vitamin D. So the sun has been demonized, and then it's been made to be the source of all illness when it's actually the source of all healing, so that you can go and keep yourself inside, keep yourself from away from the major source of healing that you have, and then go and like replace it with the synthetics. Why would anybody do that? God gave us the sun for a reason. It's the giver of all life. If the sun goes away, we don't have food, we don't have light, we don't have nature, we die. Go out and whichever way that you can do it, expose your body, the biggest parts of your body, expose them to the sun 20 minutes a day in the morning and start with that. It's going to take time. So if you're very deficient, you're not just going to build up, like if you go, this week and spend 20 minutes a day and then go test after a week, it's not going to be up yet if you're highly deficient. It will take time for your body to rebuild that deficiency. And if you think of old people, like if our parents, they hardly sometimes ever leave the house. So of course they're going to be deficient.
Ah, yes, of course, of course. Yeah, but because theoretically speaking about vitamin D deficiency, because I am in this vicious circle, Dana, right? I am in a lot of pain, so I don't move much. So I am, I'm in this, cyclical vicious circle of that I want to reach a stage where I feel good enough so I can at least do some more activity to feel better and so on and so forth. So yeah, I thought that I can honestly start with some supplement, but I get your point. You are absolutely
when you also, because vitamin D, believe it or not, is not just a vitamin. It's not like vitamin C. It's not like it's more, it acts more like a hormone in the body.
Hormone, yeah.
It acts more like a hormone. So it is so important to synthesize it and activate it naturally.
I'll inshallah, because I planned for that last week, but didn't work because I had loads of work. But inshallah, I'm starting the 9 days tomorrow again. And I'll try to. I started I did it twice. Like I walked, did a walk around the house. So hopefully, maybe 3 days into the detox, I'll try to add some activities. At least walking, yani.
Start by just sitting in the sun in the morning. That doesn't require any energy. Just sit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just sit. I'll do that.
Right.
Yeah, thank you very much, Ina.
You're welcome. All good for today, ladies? Any other questions? All right. Keep me posted. Iman, let me know how you do in the next few days. If you have any other follow-up questions on this. And I'll see you ladies on Monday, next Monday, inshallah, same time.
Thank you.
Right?
Thank you, Dana.
Have a wonderful rest of your day, ladies.
And you too.
Bye.
You too, Dana. Bye-bye.